as soon as his microphone is working, no, we'd like to hear from him. Who else is here? Marlon?
Marlon. Hi, Marlon. Bati ka muna.
Hello everyone, Sir Butch. Good evening
Hi.
sa inyo lahat.
Hi. Yeah. Anyone who wants to come in and give your opinion or ask your question, you just raise your hand sa ating Zoom at bibigyan kayo definitely ng pagkakataon. No? Just press the button on your Zoom so that we will see that you want to ask or say something. Di ba, Marlon? Meron ka bang gusto idagdag, Marlon? O mamaya.
Marlo.
Si Marlon.
Si Marlon.
Ay, hello. Naka-mute kanina eh.
Ayan.
Ang kakapasok ko lang po actually.
Sige.
Ang narinig ko lang tungkol kay Bongbong, no? Na parang wala siyang plano na ibalik sa government yung Meralco ba tsaka Maynilad.
Kasi alam mo, sabi namin, hindi mo maiwasan na ikumpara si Bongbong sa kanyang ama, no? Yung ama niya, siniguradong hindi makakapasok at mag-control ng ekonomiya ang mga oligarko. Ngunit dito naman kay Bongbong, kakapasok niya pa lang, ay pinapasok na niya dahil barkada niya yung mga oligarko. No? Ito yung kutob ko noon at sabi ko sana hindi magkatotoo, pero nagkakatotoo na nga. Kasi nasa kabinete na niya yung mga aboitiz tsaka no? Si Inigo Sobel, no?
Opo.
So, yun ang nangyayari. Gusto sabihin, yung ating talagang tinututukan na malaking problema tungkol sa public utilities at pag-ibabalik ng public utility katulad sa kuryente at tubig sa pamahalaan ng ating gobyerno ay baka hindi mangyari. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, patuloy na mataas at tataas pa ang singil sa kuryente at tubig. Sa kasalukuyan, sa buong mundo, siguro, Pilipinas na isa sa pinakamataas na sinisingil sa kuryente at sa tubig. No? Dahil dito sa atin, ang naniningil dahil sila lang may control ay yung mga oligarko. Sa mga ibang bansa, kontrolado pa rin ng gobyerno ang singil sa kuryente kaya napipigilan ang mga negosyante magtaas ng magtaas dahil patungkulan ng mga gobyerno na protektahan ng mamamayan hinggil dito sa ganitong mga public utilities. Public utilities must first serve the interest of the public, not of the private. Dito po sa atin, namumuna yung private interest kaysa sa public. Yun ang nakakatakot. Ano sa palagay mo, Marlo?
Nako. Alam mo, sir, pagka mga utilities na, yung tubig, kuryente, ay talagang kung nakakaintindi ka, Sir Butch, talagang magagalit ka dun sa mga oligarko. Pero alam mo, hindi ko parang ang nakikita ko lang diyan, Sir Butch, kasi kung yung presidente natin na si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, matapang na, matikas na, kumbaga, sa una lang siya nagalit, later on, medyo humupa yung galit niya. Paano pa kaya yung hindi matapang at hindi sabihin nating brusko na katulad ni Pangulong Duterte? Katulad ngayon, may napapabalita na itong si Ayala, Sobel de Ayala, kasama mismo doon sa Amerika kung saan siya yung representative ng private sector. Kung kasama siya doon sa tropa ng ating Pangulong Duterte at nagpresenta ng ika nga natin pwedeng nilang investment na gawin dito. Paano na lang ano mangyayari diyan, Sir Butch? 'Di ba?
Kaya nga
Paano yung proteksyon ng taong bayan? Paano yung proteksyon ng wala na yung government Nawawalan ng kapangyarihan yung gobyerno na siya yung tumayo para sa ganitong
para
diba, Sir Butch?
Para protektahan ang interes ng mamamayan, di ba? Mukhang ngayon wala nang protekta sa atin. Yun ang katungkulan ng isang gobyerno no? Kanya tayo may gobyerno. For the people, by the people, and of the people, di ba? Kung wala na tayong gobyerno for the people, what else do we have? No? This is the scary part. Sayang nga yung microphone ni Mike hindi para
si Mike,
tayo sa
gusto ko magsalita Marami itong may bibigay sa atin Try natin uli, Mike.
Pero ito, sino pang may gustong magdagdag?
Si Sir Itos. Sir Itos.
Itos, may tatanong ako. Itos.
Yes.
Itos, kanina, nakita ko sa Facebook tsaka sa ibang sa Telegram na meron mga kumakalat na merong malaking nangyayari, importanteng nangyayari sa bansang China. Ngayon, hindi ko alam kung totoo ito o hindi. Ang chismis na nagsasabi doon, alam mo na doon sa China, hindi naman nila agad-agad isisiwalat sa media yung mga nangyayari, no? Tahimik. Pero ang medyo kumpirmado, meron military mobilization. Okay? Massive military mobilization. Ibig sabihin, merong paghahanda ang kanilang sandatahan. Okay? Now, ang nakakatakot ito dahil pag naghanda na yung bansang China sa gera, palapit na tayo dyan sa banggaan ng mga superpowers, di ba? Isa pang nakakatakot na meron din na lumalabas na hindi chismis unconfirmed reports na hindi na daw si Xi Jinping ang mamumuno. Ibig sabihin, isipin natin ito, kung may militarization sa bansang China at nakahanda ng makipaggera ang China, malamang ang magte-take over ng bansa ay ang militar. No? At talagang ang civilian government o civilian leader may have to step aside. No? If this initial reports are true. The other thing we must understand and remember that China repeatedly says that they will not be the first to strike. Hindi sila ang unang magpapaputok ng nuclear arms. Hindi sila ang unang magpapaputok. Gagawin nila lang yan ang parang patakaran. This is their stated policy. Only if they are attacked, no, that is the time that they will press the button. Pag nakita nilang papunta na sa kanila ang mga raketa ng kalaban, no, tsaka lang sila pipindot ng kanilang sarili. Pang-depensa at pang-atake din sa kalaban. Ito ang nagbabadyang sitwasyon. What do you think is the veracity of this development ethos? Wala siyang mic. There, walang mic si Ethos.
Yan.
Ito. Okay. Many things there, no? Itong lumalabas na reports is not in mainstream media. So these are reports from the internet and the different networks around the world that we see that something is happening in China. Now, on the mobilization, hindi po natin alam, there are varying interpretations, no? Na this is a regular exercise that just happens to be occurring today. Except that, now if that were true, it still does not mean that this is no danger or nothing is escalating because of the context of kung ano yung nangyayari and the statements of China and the different intelligence agencies and press agencies attached to the different intelligence agencies of different countries that usually precede such a move. So we have to look at the whole context. Ano yung current situation ngayon, which leads people to be more concerned about this movement. Bakit ngayon? Okay. One. Number two, yung reports na nga about Xi being pressured or some reports are saying may coup attempt na nga eh. By who we don't know, by what part of the Communist Party of China we don't know, and who is leading this we don't know. But if it's a coup, then that China does not have, something is going on within China. There is a fight because there is different factions, and this military, hindi po natin alam kung ano sila, ano yung intention nila, ano yung stated intention nila, and gano'n. Now, what we do know is alam po natin na ang China ay may deep state pa rin. When you say deep state, a lot of elements in countries' government and in military are part of the deep state. Pati sa atin, maraming ganyan. So all over the world, kaya nga tinatawag na deep state. Ito yung parang shadow government that's ruling the world. Now, there are Chinese patriots, I'm sure, that are fighting this. So there are many rumors floating around now. It's just that yung context and the timing of what is happening now at lumalabas is already very concerning. Now, Xi has not come out and made any statement. So the Communist Party of China has not made an official statement on anything. So wala tayong balita except all of these independent vloggers and independent intelligence agencies kumakalat kasi yung iba sinasabi it's Falun Gong or others that are floating this.
Ano yung Falun Gong?
Falun Gong is a religious sect
Parang,
in China.
parang religious cult.
Yes. So, but they're according to China, they have been cracking down on this sect, this group, because according to them, these are part of the intelligence networks that the CIA uses. Yan ang sabi ng China dati. So galing daw ito sa CIA na hindi po natin alam yan. Kasi right now, what's happening now, ang alam natin, even in the US and even in Russia and in China, Russia, in Europe, in Asia, yung mga CIA networks are being how do you say, they're not as in control as they once were. So these are the deep state people of sila George Soros, the banking elite. Now that their system is going down, yan po yung konteksto niya. So hindi po natin alam for sure what is happening, but it is na lumalabas na ganito, and in context na sa Iran, sabay, and hindi pa tapos yung sa Ukraine, and hindi pa tapos yung mga protesta sa Europe about food security and all of that. Na everything is coming to a head. Tapos po yung inflation, because there's no goods and services being pushed around anymore. Going around the world. Mataas yung mga bilihin. That's what we feel here. But around the world, ganun na rin.
Mas grabe pa, no?
Mas grabe pa. So, this is the context of this whole news of China. It's very concerning kasi this is our next door neighbor. Nandito na. So, and China is not going to. Before, we used to think of China as one China. Pag nagsabi yung statement ang China, it's the whole country. Pero ngayon po, assuming na nagkaka-issue sila, there is an insider fight. And assuming, sabi nga ni Chairman, kung ang mag-take over ay those military forces that are not like Xi Jinping, who don't have the same mindset, mas delikado yun. Kasi yun ang deep state na gustong gumera. And they will cooperate with these countries that want war. Okay? Lalo na yung Biden led by US and all. So, that is the situation we see itself. Now, if Xi Jinping, who was never been aggressive or never outwardly stated that he was going to making threats to other countries, is removed, then you might have a more, right wing or more militant leadership in the Communist parties of China, which is more dangerous for the world. Because pag ganyan, mas madaling i-manipula sila to get into war. And that does not benefit. Doon na tayo. All bets are off pag ganyan. Hindi mo na mapigil yung barila. Yun lang yung thoughts ko doon, Chairman.
Okay. Are there others that want to say anything, ask your questions? Tony, are you there? You want to ask something? And
Si Johnny Ventosa.
Johnny Ventosa, good evening. You want to?
Yeah. I read that article and I got worried. What do you call this? Carlos? I forgot your nickname.
Yeah.
Carlos, that's the communist Chinese deep state, right?
That's
Because
what
I think-
it
because
was
I think,
bringing up.
Because I think China is really a nationalistic party, but the Communist Party is the one that's really the big deep state there. Yes or no?
It's possibly nga, meron din silang deep state equivalent, Johnny.
Yeah,
You know?
so that's what we're trying to figure out, because they're like yung sa Communist China, we always look at it as one very parang united na hindi sila, they will not break from the party. They will not break from the principles. But assuming now and looking at this, and remember, China has undergone a massive transformation this past 25 years or so. They are more outward looking. They are more accepting of different ideas. So that moves these, how do you say, conservatives or the traditionalists in even the Communist Party to act. And there might be, and this is pure speculation, there might be a faction that really just wants war. Just like Japan had a militant faction within the military that killed everybody in the 1930s para silang Night of Long Knives that the Nazis did during Hitler's time to kill off all of their enemies and paved the way for a military takeover. And then Japan was militarized helped by the British, and then they went to war.
Okay,
So,
just in case it is true that there is a coup, what does it mean to the rest of the world if China has been taken over by the military? What do you think? Anyone?
Big problem.
Big problem, yes. I understand.
But
And we are there, no?
yeah.
Because
But Butch, what's happening right now? I've been getting so many messages, etc., etc., and they're so worried. I mean, we don't know anymore what to believe. What is propaganda and what is truth? It's amazing. I mean, even the internet, it's magulo.
yes, well, of course, we are all going to, ours is to be able to sift through
Yeah.
the garbage that we get from the internet. No? I would say, unless we know how to think and unless we know how to decipher and discern, no, we will miss the truth. No? And or if we know how to expel what are the garbage and what are not, then we might be closer to the reality. I just wanted to, after Itos's presentation, I just wanted to bring out not another viewpoint, but similar. No, I got to this. The basic situation in China is that the Communist Party of China is the main power in the Chinese government. Sila yung major party. No? Now, the one that made Xi Jinping the president is the major party, which is something like 97% of China. Yung kanilang mga political heads all over China. Okay. Now, I was just thinking, kung unlike siguro here in the Philippines, or unlike that in the United States, the president of China may not necessarily be the commander-in-chief. Dito sa atin, tsaka sa Amerika, or in other countries, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military. If they go to war, no, the president is still the one who calls the shots. I'm not sure that that is the case in communist China. Because of these developments, you see, China is not experiencing hunger and starvation. It is not experiencing unemployment. It is not even experiencing high inflation. As a matter of fact, it is a very stable economic situation in China. They have pockets as of now with regard to COVID, but they are very quick to address it. And they have shown to the world that they can do it. Now, all of a sudden, in the light of all that is happening, we hear that there is a coup. Now, if there is a transfer of leadership from the civilian leader to the military, no, if that happened in the Philippines or elsewhere, then we are going to say, because the people are starving, because the peace and order is no longer controlled, because there is unemployment, uncontrolled prices in goods, and so on and so forth. That is why there is instability in society, then the military intervenes. Pero dito sa China, walang ganyan. I ask the question now, what will make the military intervene in the running of China? My feeling is, if that is ever possible, it is not because of the economic situation and the peace and order situation in China. It is not because people are starving. The military may intervene in the light of the possibility that China is about to be attacked. And their intelligence information may be because they now see the preparations of an attack which is imminent on China. That directly or indirectly. How is this? Russia has a close military alliance with China. We don't know the details of their talk, but Russia and China know that their enemy is the United States, the United Kingdom, and NATO. These are the forces that are against Russia and China. Now, Russia today is being at war with Ukraine because the Ukraine is being used as a pawn, as an attack dog by NATO and the United States. Everybody knows that. The whole world knows that. So Russia found it necessary to preempt this and started to invade Ukraine. However, Ukraine is not able to stop Russia with all the arms that the US had already provided it. Just last week, a document has already been signed. Well, it has not been made public yet, but we in our LaRouche organization have assured that it is true that President Zelensky of Ukraine and the Secretary General of NATO had signed an agreement that despite Ukraine not being part of NATO, the document says that any enemy that Ukraine needs to attack is likewise the enemy of NATO. Because of this document, President Putin reacted and he said, if you will push through with that, and we know this is only to start a nuclear war against Russia, President Putin said, we are ready to use our nuclear weapons. All of our nuclear weapons, plus those that you do not know that we have. This came out in a speech recently of Putin 2 or 3 days ago. Now, this situation may have an effect on what China is doing. Why? It is not too far from our imagination and this discernment that the two leaders having a common enemy like the US, the UK, and the NATO, the two leaders may have had an agreement. If one is attacked, then the other will both close ranks and fight the common enemy. Why will they do that? And that is what the NATO is doing with the United States. Why won't they do that? So that they can join forces. And if they see that the war in Russia is going to be imminent and NATO fires a nuclear missile to Russia, then the world is at war. The whole world is at war, including us. Because the US will have to fire their missiles against China, and China will have to fire theirs against the US. And guess what? The US nuclear arms are in the Philippines. Congratulations.
Sir Butch, may tanong lang dito, no? Gusto lang din malaman ni Ma'am Connie kung sino ba tong si Wang Yi na isang Chinese foreign minister, sir.
Wang Yi is the foreign minister of China. And he had already said in a statement, Wang Yi had said in a statement that the US is pushing this statement wherein the rule of law and so on and so forth, everybody must follow a rule-based order, okay? And Wang Yi said, what we must follow is the international law, not the law per the United States for us to follow. We must all follow, in accordance with the United Nations, international law. That is what Wang Yi said. No? Not this rule-based economy and rules-based order that the US is promoting. No? And this is very important. The other thing that Wang Yi also just said as the foreign minister of China, that it is the policy of China not to be the first one to shoot. It is a stated policy. So you do not have to worry about China firing the first shot. What you must worry about is whether the US will use their policy. And what is the policy of the US? Preemptive strike. What does preemptive strike mean? We will shoot first and ask questions later. That is preemptive strike. That is the stated policy of the US and NATO. Uunahan niya, no, ang kalaban. But despite that, the Chinese know that. But despite that, no, China's policy is we will not shoot first, but we will defend our sovereignty and the Republic of China up to the last citizen. No. Mike Alunan, do you have something to add? Andiyan pa ba si Mike?
Si Mike may mga messages siya eh. Mike,
Okay. Basahin mo yung messages ni Mike.
ito may sinasabi siya kanina, Jennifer Zeng as main source of rumors seems affiliated daw with Falun Gong.
I cannot understand. Itos, do you understand?
Yan, Sir Itos. Okay.
Yeah, so kanina si Mike nagsisend siya ng messages kasi, so he cannot, kasi yung audio niya is not working, so dito siya nagko-communicate. So he was saying daw the source of that chismis about she being under house arrest because of a coup is someone identified daw with Falun Gong, the religious sect.
Yeah.
Which has been used by the mainstream media before to show how China is cracking down on different kinds of religion. So sabi niya, the source of that is one person. But again, Micah, I think the sources parang iba-iba eh. So hindi ko alam kung isa lang galing doon eh. So let's see, like we said, hindi po natin alam kung ano yung mga talagang nangyayari. So at this point, we can only speculate. Jennifer Zeng daw, sabi niya. So si Marlon rin, tutuloy ko na Cathy. Si Marlon from QC, sabi niya, he also said Falun Gong members were accused by Beijing of organ harvesting. They're like they've always been anti-government. So yun yung mga Falun Gong. So I know that Beijing has mass arrested many of their members because of subversive activities daw. But again, this is a communist nation, so you cannot say anything against the government without the government retaliating.
Yeah.
Michael Alunan also said, kanina, in the discussion natin about Bongbong and the oligarchs, sabi nga niya, he advised that LaRouche had the full discourse on the roots of privatization and where this whole concept. So we encourage everybody. Siguro you can find it in the LaRouche website. Also, sabi niya, Yes, he commented nga, yung privatization nga ng Maynilad and Manila Water, sabi ni Mike, resulted in bigger problems. It became too big. Joke niya, too big, T-O-O-B-I-G. That became too big, and a joke ni Mike. So, klinaro ni Marlon, his statement was, China government is the one doing the organ harvesting daw. So, sabi niya, inaaresto daw mga Falun Gong so that China can harvest their organs.
Wow.
So, yun yung statement ng Falun Gong. Yeah. So yan ang kinakalat dun sa US. So I don't know either way kung ano yung but it came out in Epoch Times in the US. So not also mainstream, but definitely this has been an issue with China and the rest. So this is a real big issue nga, Chairman. So yeah. Binasa ko lang yung mga nagtanong rin si Marlon kanina pa na what can we do or say, except medyo change topic to, but it's 8:20 already. So what can we do or say about the new scamdemic tulad ng climate change, aka global warming, which is there to tax, land grab, and control the people? Hashtag do not comply. Tama, Marlon. Mauna na ako before Chairman reacts, no? Alam mo itong climate change scam, and it's really a scam. It's one of the biggest scams that was put on the world, no? By the same elites that want population reduction. This climate change thing, before that, it's part of the environmental science that they created, which is not really science. It's fake science talaga. Nag-isip lang sila kung paano natin i-justify itong pagpapatay sa bilyong-bilyon na tao. Okay? And the ones going behind this are the same banks, the same oligarchical interests, the same royal family of Britain, sila Queen Elizabeth and all of those guys. Sila yung nagfa-fund ng environmentalism. Kung malaman niyo po yung ating hoax na lumabas from Britain, the East Anglia University hoax about climate change, about rising CO2 and related to global warming, man-made global warming daw, that was already shut down. And if you notice po, yung line nila sa mainstream media, hindi na po global warming, climate change na. So they changed from global warming to climate change. Pero nakakatuwa kasi climate always changes. Ever since the correct Marlon, yeah, no, the thumbs up siya. So climate always changing. There's never a time na climate is steady because the world is always changing. The universe changes. When we move around the sun and the sun gives out all of those the radiation and all, it affects all planets. It always changes. Ever since the dinosaurs, wala pa tayo dito, nag-change na yung climate eh. We're the best species to have adapted to climate change. But now, sinasabi nila, dahil sa climate change, nagkakasakit kayo. Meron nga ako nakita sa US, yung isang official Democrat Party, sabi niya, yung COVID was caused by climate change. Sabi niya, kaya magkakasakit tuluyan ang lahat ng tao sa mundo dahil nagpapalit yung climate dahil cause yan ng COVID. So yan ang science nila. So yun lang So those so far it's Marlon and si Mike in our message chat, no. So yun lang po.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, well, ako dadagdag ko lang dito sa sinasabi ni Itos, no? Yung in the 1960s, people may have forgotten. There was this environmentalist group headed by a couple, Strickland, something like that, no? And they pushed the concept, and it was widespread in terms of media, the concept of global cooling. They said that the world was about to go into an ice age, and that there was not going to be enough food. So their solution was to warn the people that food must be stored and that they should eat less. And this went on for a few years up to the early 70s when a certain well-known environmentalist also, her name was Margaret Mead. She confirmed that there was going to be global cooling. And again, the mainstream media at the time took on her statements. However, by about 1976, 77, about 5 years from the time that they talked about global cooling, they realized that the world was not going to follow their suggestion to eat less, to save food. So, and that what happened is they changed strategy. Margaret Mead at one point gave the announcement that it is not global cooling that is the problem, but global warming. So this all started towards the latter part of the 70s and went on and on until it started to gain traction at the time when they needed it as a propaganda tool. And so this is what happened. Global warming meant they used carbon emission as the culprit. It is a scientific lie that carbon is bad for us. Nothing will live in our planet if there is no carbon. No. It is precisely the element of life. There's so many scientists that are saying this already. But the propaganda is the heat, the ozone layer, and that thing that they kept on talking about. Now, nobody talks about the ozone layer anymore because there is no such hole. They're just saying climate change. Sometimes it is too cold, sometimes it is too hot. Climate change. Who is causing this? Anthropogenic. Meaning, the one causing it is human beings. Human beings are farting too often. Cows must be stopped from farting. That is what these guys have been saying. There is no, and then they show you a picture of a glacier being chopped off some sort of a glacier mountain and falling into the sea. That thing happens every year. When it is winter, that builds up. Then after winter, it starts to flow. There are many scientists saying this, but the media and the propaganda of these environmentalists have pushed through. Now, many people are really honestly concerned about the environment. They don't like pollution. They don't like garbage to be thrown in the promoting disease. And there we follow. But after that, they go to the next level and say, industrialization is bad. There should be no factories. Okay? Mind you, if industrialization stops, many people will not have jobs and they will starve and they will die. Do you think these manipulators of the environment know that? But of course they know that. No? Because these people are anti-human beings. They have the same quality of thinking that those that promoted the pandemic and weaponized flu as a sickness to become a pandemic, no? The same kind of thinking that these environmentalists at that level have done so. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is they are anti-human. So you kill them through these pandemics, no? And you tell them not to develop so that there will be more people impoverished and will go hungry and die. More so, impose on them economic policies that will kill them. Like here in the Philippines, they have imposed economic policies on us that created massive poverty, starvation, and death. Siyempre, pag kulang ang kinakain, babagsak ang kalusugan. Pag bumagsak ang kalusugan, magkakasakit at walang pera para gamot, mamamatay. This is the mindset of those people that feel that the human population must be brought down from 8 billion to 1 billion at the earliest possible time. Who were they? Who are the ones thinking along these lines? Well, you check out a philosopher named Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell is a British philosopher that said that the world is overpopulated. Remember, he was saying this before World War II. He said the world is overpopulated and wars have not done what they should do in lessening the population. We must look into the possibility of using pharmaceuticals in order to lessen the human population and save us from the disaster of overpopulation when we do not have enough food for them to eat. That was Bertrand Russell. Check it out. Look at some of his writings and you will find it. Check out Bertrand Russell on population. This is what he was saying. Who else? Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II. The Prince Philip repeatedly said that if reincarnation were true and he would like to be reincarnated as a specially deadly virus so that he can make his contribution against the world's overpopulation problem, especially the deadly virus. When did he say this? In the 1980s, in the 1990s, and in the year 2000. He kept on saying this. Who else is saying this? King Charles III is mouthing exactly the same thing. His son. This is the mindset of the people that want to destroy human population. Their mindset is like pag sumobra daw ang mga usa sa gubat, pag sumobra daw ang mga usa sa gubat, sabi ni Prince Philip, at magkukulang daw yung pagkain ng mga usa, kinakailangan daw barilin mo at patayin mo yung mga ibang usa para mabuhay daw yung mga natitira. To cull, they call this culling. Pag sumobra ang ang baboy sa babuyan at hindi mo maibenta lahat, bago dumating ka dun sa problemang yon, kailangan patayin mo na yung mga biik at dahil hindi mo mabibenta. Culling. And they want to use the same method on human beings. These are the kinds of evil people that the world is up against. We don't know whether we can defeat them. But every single human being who realizes who the enemy is and can point to these kinds of cause coming from evil and demonic, that person had already succeeded, because he is going to talk and share his ideas like the way we are sharing it now with each other. We don't go by numbers. We just fight the evil ideas. And soon the people will realize and fight the demons that are lurking around the world.
Okay, Sir Butch.
Yeah. Ayan si Bertrand Russell. Are we tapos na ba yung ating time?
Hindi pa po. It's already 8:37 na po ng gabi. At
Okay.
meron pa po tayong meron lang po pinadala sa atin si Teresa Limbuco. Wait lang po para makita tayo. Kasi sinusubukan ko to para makita lang natin dahil we're live nga po.
Cathy, kamukha mo si Bertrand Russell.
Tinanggal ko na Sir Butch Kasi kanina gusto kong iniisa-isa ko yung hinahanap ko via internet kasi para makita ng ating mga kababayan. But anyway, meron lang pong mensahe si Teresa Limbuco. Sabi niya, exactly, Sir Butch, the globalists are godless psychopaths that think we useless eaters are consuming their water, air, food. They are eugenicists. Bertrand Russell and the UNESCO founder Julian Huxley, brother of Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World po. Yan ang sabi ni Teresa Limbuco. Tapos sabi rin kanina ni Marlon, nag-message din siya sa ating Zoom chat, climate change is a scam. Geoengineering is real. Yan ang sabi ni Marlon. At yan. Meron pa ba akong hindi nasasabi? Ayun. Yung iba nabasa naman ni Itos kanina. Yan lang naman ang ano. But anyway, Sir Butch, alam mo, habang pinag-uusapan natin ang lahat ng ito, nananatili pa rin na mainit pa rin ang usapin tungkol dito sa mga problema pagdating sa agriculture. And kanina nga, nakita ko sa isang post ng dating Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Sir Butch, na si Eduardo Gongona, Commodore. Sabi niya ganon, just one solicited advice on food sufficiency. Words and media blitz and whatnots are all drawings. Hindi yan makukuha sa ganda ng presentation at galing nyo mag-Ingles. Action, action, production is needed ASAP. Yan ang sabi niya. The best lesson I got from Secretary Manny Piñol is and was, give me production, quote-unquote ito, and not projection. To my face, yan ang sinabi. True, a good implementation comes from a good plan. But how many good plan will be doing? Every time a new head comes, then comes the new good plan. So many good plans, so many good drawings, time is of the essence. Sabi niya, pick that best plan even if you didn't author it, then implement. Open close parenthesis, sabi niya, yung iba dyan, improve ng konti, ginawa ng iba, then put their name on it. Authored na niya. Hindi man lang nagpapa-thank you sa original. Sabi niya ganun. It's okay. Basta, implement for food sufficiency sake. Implementation food. Sabi niya ganun. And food sufficiency. Yan ang sigaw ng dating Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, no? So makikita mo talaga, Butch, na ultimo yung mga opisyal at dating opisyal ng ating pamahalaan, talagang alam nilang may problema Butch, di ba?
Yeah.
And natatandaan ko kasi na si Commodore Ed Gongona ay pumasok ito during the time of Manny Piñol. Hindi siya sa time, although natuloy pa rin siya na nakapwesto during the time of Secretary William Dar. But anyway, sayang nga, papasok sana siya sa atin, Butch. Kaya lang nasa Davao kasi siya. Very limited time din yung binigay ko sa kanya. Pero sabi niya, next time daw, pagka kahit via Zoom, ay sasama siya sa atin. Marami ring experience din kasi itong si Commodore Eduardo Gongona, Butch. So yan, habang lumalala yung problema natin sa ibang bansa, no? Na sigurado apektado tayo kasi alam mo thinking, Butch, pang mga kababayan natin. Naku, ano ba naman pakialam natin sa gulo dyan sa 'di ba? Yung awayan dyan sa China at saka ng US, apektado ba tayo? Ganon ang yung iba ganon mag-isip, Butch. Hindi katulad ninyo na hindi katulad natin na nakikita natin kung ano yung epekto nito sa atin. But again, habang ganyan yung problema sa ibang bansa, lumalala sangayon dun sa ibang mga nasa legislation ngayon na kamakailan lang ay nagkaroon kami ng forum sa National Press Club. At pagka iniisip ko, Butch, hindi naalalayo sa lahat ng mga sinasabi mo. Kaya sabi ko dun sa grupo ng Philippine Chamber of Agriculture and Food, join us. Kasi para ibunyag nila lahat kung saan ba nag-ugat ito. Pero what is good with them is that meron silang naiisip na mga suggestions, kaya lang ang problema wala pang action sa ating pamahalaan ngayon. I don't know kung bakit.
Alam mo, wala sa atin ngayon, Cathy. isang national direction, objective.
Yes.
Yung kailangan talaga manggaling sa ating Pangulo. Sabihin niya sa atin, ito ang gusto kong mangyari by year 6 ng aking administrasyon. On the first year, ito ang ating goal. On the second year, ito yung next goal natin. Paakyat ng paakyat. Para meron tayong direksyon na pinapuntahan. Hindi yung bara-bara na lang. Nahuli itong nasa sugar, dapat yun ang problema ng bayan. Hindi. Tama yung sinasabi nyo, production. Why? Why production? Because we are in a crisis. We have to have a crisis manager. Ang crisis manager, meron siyang goal, may objective. Tapos sasabihin niya sa lahat ng alipores niya, lahat ng gabinete niya, ito ang gusto kong mangyari. Lahat ng kayo dyan sa kabinete, kailangan na katutok dito. At yung kanyang mga gagawin sa inyong mga departamento, nakatutok dito sa pagkamit natin nitong objective na ito. That way, all of them know that they're supposed to follow that objective. Now, kukuha ka ng isang secretary, baala ka husayin mo yan graduate ka talaga sa UP, ganyan-ganyan sige, tapos ka na. Ikaw, magaling ka, sabi dito, magna cum laude ka, ganyan. Ayusin mo yan, Anong klase yan, Hindi ganyan. Kasi bobo yung mga yan hindi ikaw yung leader, ikaw magsabi kung anong gusto mo. Kung ano ang gusto mong mangyari para sa kapakanan ng ating bayan, ng ating mga mamamayan. You have to tell them, articulate your goal. And everybody must follow. Para kang nagkukumpas sa isang Philippine Harmonic Orchestra. Ikaw yung conductor. Lahat yan, kinakailangan ang kanilang tinutugtog kasi cello, violin, drums, trumpet, harp, at ano-ano pa, ay naka dito sa pagkukumpas mo. Nakatingin sila sa iyo para gumawa kayo ng magandang symphony. Kung kanya-kanya kayo, kanya-kanyang tugtog at walang kumukumpas, anong mangyayari sa atin? And this is what we are in that situation. We don't see anybody. There is no conductor. Or our conductor is not making music. That's the whole point. Maybe we're talking too early. Baka naman masyadong maaga tayo nagsasalita. Baka naman meron siyang talagang plano. Pagbigyan pa natin ng konting panahon. Pero habang palapit na tayo dito sa pasensya, kahinatnan ng pasensya ng tao, sana ipakita ng maaga pa para magkaroon naman ng konting pag-asa ang mamamayang Pilipino.
At saka sana talaga, Sir Butch, ay hindi lang parang sabi nga photo ops, alam mo yun, puro PR ang nasa isip, kundi talagang kailangan ay proteksyonan ang sambayan ng Pilipino at tiyakin na mapaunlad yung ating bansa. Hindi lang sa salita, kundi kinakailangan makita natin sa gawa, di ba, Sir Butch?
That's right.
Anyway, it's already 8:49 na po ng gabi at ilang minuto na lamang ang nalalabi at tayo ay maghahawi na ng tabing para tayong nasa para tayong nasa entablado. Tayo ay maghahawi na ng tabing pagdating ng alas 9 po ng gabi. Of course, ang ating katipunan ay napapakinggan sa pamamagitan po ng radyo 558 lamang po sa Talapihitan at napapanood po kami via Facebook Live ng Partido KDP, Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino at syempre ganun din sa ating mga YouTube account. So please like, share, and subscribe ang ating pong mga social media accounts para marami po ang maging bahagi nito at makaalam din ng mga impormasyong dito nila lamang po maririnig. Dito lamang po kay Professor Butch nilang malalaman yan. At alam mo, Sir Butch, bagamat kulang na yung kasi medyo mabibitin tayo pero probably next week, magandang talakayin din natin yung role ng press sa nation building. Alam mo, meron kang isang naipaskil sa Facebook yata ito, o kung saan man, kasi nakita ko nung nag-browse ako. Maganda siguro na ito ay maano natin. Kasi medyo mahaba lang, pero next week ito ay ating tatalakayin, Sir Butch.
Sige,
Pero
imbitahin mo yung ang Pangulo ng Press Club, Philippine
sa
Press Club.
Lydia Bueno.
Tsaka yung iba pang mga
Paul
opisyal
Gutierrez.
doon, sila Paul Gutierrez, no? O
Para
kaya si Lakay, di ba?
sila
Baka gusto nilang ilabas. Lalong-lalo na sila dahil hindi sila mainstream media, no?
correct.
Meron silang siguradong may babahagi sa atin.
Exactly, Kabuch. Okay, at para po sa ating mga tagapanood, mari po kayong mag-iwan po ng mensahe sa mga social media accounts po ng Partido KDP o Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino o maaari po kayong bumisita o mag-email na lang. Mag-email na lang. Nako, nakalimutan ko na yung email address natin, Kabuch. But anyway, importante sa social media po. At sana po next Sunday, mas dumami pa po. At ihanda nyo na po yung inyong mga katanungan. Usually po, para po sa mga sasama po sa Zoom, ang payo ko lamang po ay pakilagay na po yung buong pangalan ninyo para po pag pumasok po kayo ay ma-recognize po namin kayo. At pangalawa ay paki-mute lang po. At pangatlo ay kinakailangan i-prepare nyo lang po yung inyong mga katanungan at para ma-submit po natin o pwede nyo pong sabihin na mismo ang inyong mga katanungan kay Professor Butch. At sana, Sir Butch, next Sunday ay may makasama pa tayong mga iba rito. At maraming salamat. I just want to recognize si Ma'am Connie, si Johnny Ventosa, si Teresa Limhuco, si Marlon M. ng Quezon City, si Michael Alunan, of course si Itos, yung ating poging-pogi na anak ni Professor Butch, no? At abalang-abala siya sa kanyang NCC. Anyway, merong gusto pang ihabol si Johnny. Johnny?
Sige.
7 minutes.
Yes, please. Sometimes I have questions that I'm afraid to ask here. Butch, how can I get in touch with you to ask you privately? Because I don't want to ask questions publicly, which might impose on the Zoom.
Well, it's also very hard to get me through the cell phone, no? But if you want, you can call me sa Messenger, no?
Okay.
You call me sa
Write to your
Messenger,
Messenger.
and I will answer it, of course.
I
No?
will write on Messenger. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sige. Anybody else?
Okay, wala na. Mga 7 minutes na lang po ang nalalabi. Pwede po nating basahin yung ilang mga text message natin. Professor, it's time to read
Oh,
the messages, yung ano nyo,
sige.
bago po tayo magbasa ng ating mga texters. Yan. Actually, hinahanap ko po sila ngayon para makita natin And syempre, kinakailangan po ninyong i-like, mag-subscribe po kayo. Yan ang wag na wag po ninyong kalilimutan para po marami po ang kahit po mga kaaway ninyo, bahagian ninyo ng programa pong ito. At yes, next time po, pag-usapan din po natin, may suggestion dito, Professor Butch, na pag-usapan din natin itong effect ng dollar peso rising and falling. Nako, excited ako dito, Ma'am Connie. Kasi, di ba Sir Butch, tinuro nyo sa amin to every Saturday class nabanggit nyo na sa amin to. And sa mga nakaraan din nating mga palatuntunan.
Okay, very good. Sige, hanggang next week ulit, no?
Magbasa lang tayo, sir, ng magbabasa lang ako, sir, ng konti lang to.
Sige.
Para ma-consume lang natin. Anyway, sabi ni Alfredo Oridina, pati raw fart ng cattle causes climate change. Kaya protest of farmers in Netherlands. At sabi pa niya, carbon is not a pollution but needed to sustain life. Icebergs melt on the mother side of the globe because bigger iceberg. Yan. Yan ang binanggit ni nanonood siya sa atin. Masugid na taga-subaybay natin yan, Professor Butch.
Okay.
And so far, sige, yan na. It's time. Ayan. Sabi ni, okay, we will send the Zoom link po. Actually, di ba yung Zoom link natin, sabi po ng ating technician, the same din naman po, hindi po na bago yan. Kasi concurring, tama ba? Sir Butch, yung ating Zoom link. So, advice na lang po na maaga po kayong pumasok. So, our program starts at 7 o'clock. Ang suggestion ko po is 6:45 pa lang po pumasok na kayo so we can prepare po. Ano po?
We don't change our Zoom link.
Yes.
It will be the same as the previous period, no? So, i-save nyo na yan o kaya makikita nyo naman pareho na naman yan. Pareho every week ang ating Zoom link tsaka password.
Okay, Sir Butch, at meron ditong nag-send. Congratulations. Okay. Ayan. May sinend na Anyway, so i-send po namin at ipopost natin yan at pwede nyo pong ibahagi yan sa inyong mga kakilala, kaibigan. Wala na po ba tayong we have 3 minutes to go. At tayo po ay muling magpapaalam na. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Cathy Cruz. At syempre, Sir Butch.
Yes, okay. Yes. Sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa ating katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DZXL Radio Mo Nationwide, kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan niyo kami ngayon ng ora de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito po sa ating katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli, mga katipon, 7 to 9 p.m., let us Zoom on every Sunday. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Cathy?